I'd like to see what he says as it relates to climate change and how that connects to these broader, deeper issues before I pass judgment. But I think religion ought to be about making us better as people and less about things that end up getting into the political realms.
Those on the political right are seen very often as pro-religion, more often than not following the teaching and guidance of leaders such as Pope Francis, leader of the Catholic Church. And there's always been a thinking by Catholics that the Pope carries God's message to earth. So if the Pope is railing against the effects of climate change, and that would then be a message from God, how will those who lean toward religion as a major deciding factor in life feel if they themselves are vehemently against the climate change debate? Think carefully. Have a seat. We're going in. The Midweek News Call kicks into gear. President of the M Network Branding and Strategy, Tom Mosloom, joined by veteran broadcaster, investigative reporter, and the founder of JaneUnchained.com, Jane Velez-Mitchell. I thank you both for being here. Hey. And Jane, I'm going to begin with you. Some Catholics say there is no such thing as climate change. The Pope says, yes, there is. How do you reconcile the two?
Yes, because the Pope is a very smart man, and that's why he's so popular. Because he uses his common sense and listens to 97% of the scientific community that says climate change is real and it is man-made. And I'm not talking about fringe people. I went on the internet today and the list of associations, American Association for the Advancement of Science, American Chemical Society, American Geophysical Union, American Medical Association, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. All these institutions saying climate change is real. I think the Republican Party should wake up to this, because you know what's going to be devastated by climate change? Yes, the poor, but also business. How can you have business when you've got floodwaters, when you've got drought, when you've got fires, when you've got extreme heat and extreme cold? They've got to get rid of this short-term thinking.
All good points, but again, it comes down to this reconciliation. So, Tom, I come to you because there are people who say that the Pope is supposed to be carrying the word of God. We need to believe him. So I guess the bigger question here is, should the Pope be involved in a political football?
Well, it's not a political football. I can't think of a place where the rubber meets the road more than God's people taking care of God's creation. I mean, I don't care what you call it. You could call it climate change. You could call it loving the ecology. You could call it stewardship. The fact of the matter remains is that if you believe that God made all this, well, then we should take care of it as he would want us to. So I don't think the Pope is out of bounds at all. In fact, I think Jeb Bush just dug himself a little hole, particularly among Catholics and particularly among Latin Catholics, who he's going to be hard-pressed to woo after statements like that.
But do you think what he said, though, was really going to make a difference when you talk about all the other issues, Tom, that are out there? Certainly climate change is one, but there's immigration. That seems to loom as a bigger issue for Jeb Bush. There's foreign policy. There's so many other things here.
Don't mess with the Pope, don't mess with nuns, period. That's like sort of Latin politics 101, right?
Did you go to Catholic school, young man? Are we talking about...
I have the knuckles to prove it.
That's exactly right. Systematic discipline and the steel ruler. We get it. Okay. Hey, Jane, when it comes down to Jeb Bush, here's something else, because he's going after Hillary Clinton, which we knew he would, but he is now also once again opposing gay marriage. And there's many people, many on the Republican side, who say that they will go against SCOTUS, they will go against anything when it comes down to gay marriage. Is this just a losing proposition in your mind when it comes down to those wanting to be president?
Look, I agree with your other guests that Jeb Bush is digging himself one hole after the other. Now, he was speaking out of both sides of mouths. He said, I don't believe in gay marriage. I believe in traditional marriage, and I hope the Supreme Court goes with traditional marriage. But I don't want to discriminate against gays. Guess what? Not allowing people to marry, people like me, I'm a lesbian, not allowing me to marry is the biggest discrimination you can exert against me, saying I can't marry the person that I love. So you can't have it both ways, Mr. Bush. If you don't support gay marriage, don't go around and say, but I don't believe in discriminating against gays. He's trying to have his cake and eat it, and he's going to have neither.
Let me ask you this then, Jane. Do you believe that any candidate, Democratic, Republican, makes no difference, whomever it is, if they are not in favor of gay marriage, do you think they can win the presidency?
I don't think you can litmus test on one issue. Certainly, I would hope Republicans and conservatives who believe in the philosophy of don't tread on me, don't infringe on my right to do what I want and pursue my happiness in life as long as I don't hurt you or anybody else. That is the conservative mantra. That's why I don't understand why there's so many conservatives against gay marriage. Now, the states that have passed gay marriage, what horrible things have happened there? Floor sales have gone up. I mean, you've got to look at the impact, and there is no impact. Why don't people just allow other people to engage in their own private, consenting adult behavior without interfering?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch to something else here, Tom, to you now. And this comes down to Senate torture. The U.S. Senate voted overwhelmingly on Tuesday to outlaw all future use.
Hang on a second. Why does Jane get to talk about love and marriage, and I get to talk about
simply because of time, my friend? But I tell you what, you go right ahead. I'm going to go ahead and give you that opportunity. Go right ahead. Weigh in.
Listen, I'm going to weigh in because I think that you missed the middle point.
Okay.
This has been a political football that says you have to take one side or the other, and I think there's a large group of people who just don't care. We don't care about gay marriage. We don't know why the government is in the marriage business anyway. Get out of the marriage business. Let the church sort that out. The rest of us will sit on the sidelines.
I feel as myself that I have been immediately taken to task here. I apologize, Mr. Muslim. I will not do anything so egregious again to leave you out of something. I was simply looking at time. And you know something?
Now let's talk about torture.
Simply because of that, I'm taking the story that I had right here, I'm tossing it up, and that's it. I'm getting rid of that one, and I'm moving on to the next one here. Let's go on to Rachel Dolezal. Now you wanted something with a little fire. I'll give you this one, Tom. Here we go. This is the lady who says, I identify as black. Wait a minute now. Hold on. Let's all just stop and pull down a moment here in the couple of minutes we have left. The woman is an absolute liar, and yet there are people who are buying into the lies. Look, this isn't about black or white, Tom. This is about somebody who seemed to want to job the system and take advantage of it to many people. This is a con artist, yes or no?
Yes, I live in a community. I do a lot of business in this community. Part of the government system in this community says that the municipality has to give 51% of its contracts to minority groups. I'm feeling minority today.
I'm
feeling a little minority.
I know that you do want to tell us that in actuality, you are not a dark-haired man. You are actually a chartreuse creature of some kind here.
Listen,
I know that's what you identify with. Jane,
I will tweet this.
Jane,
I will tweet this now.
Please do. Jane, this is interesting here because, again, we're coming down to all this identity issue, and I understand that people should be allowed to be whatever they want to be, but isn't this just a liar working the system?
Well, I think with friends like this, who needs enemies? She says she's a friend to the African-American community, and yet she sued Howard University, the historically black college, for discrimination. And now we're learning about this dust-up with her ex-husband, where she's accusing him, he happens to be African-American, of all sorts of horrific things. The woman has a history of lying. You know, there's some nuggets of good thought. This idea that identity of all sorts is a very amorphous thing that could be a subject for discussion, but she is absolutely the worst vehicle to bring that message.
And do we need to basically say this to both of you? I only got about 45 seconds left, but we need to just go ahead and bury this because, Jane, don't we know that sooner or later the reality show and the sex tape are going to show up? As a matter of fact, there's already a report out there that says she has a sex tape out there. That's it. We've already heard this. She says she was forced to do a sex tape years ago by her ex-husband. That one is now coming out. Her pictures are all over. Tom, I can only imagine where we're going to go with this on branding because, hey, look, if certain people can get away with reality shows, don't you know that somebody's going to sign her up real soon?
Yeah, but that's going to be a train wreck. I mean, that's going to be like Honey Boo Boo.
What, like that's going to stop people from watching?
No, that's why they're going to watch. They're going to watch in droves. Are you kidding me? It's pathetic. It's horrific.
Wait a minute. I got an idea. Let's put the Housewives, the Kardashians, Honey Boo Boo, and Rachel Dolezal together into the same. We got a winner here. We're making a fortune. Tom Muslim, Jane Velez-Mitchell, always a pleasure to have you on the show because I always know I'm getting the straight dirt. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon. Coming up next, the missiles of June, the one that Putin wants to fire at the West. Next.